Hi, and welcome to tonight's study in the book of Proverbs. Tonight we're going to continue in chapter 10. We're going to look at verse 12, which is a very famous verse that a lot of people know and some people use in conversation. It says this: hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers all transgressions. Now, tonight we're going to talk about love. What is love? Here, in this verse, it's the Hebrew word ahab, and it means affection. If you look in the Septuagint, the Greek version of the Old Testament, they use the word philia. It's a deep love, but it's a human love. It's not agape, which is God's love. It's another Greek word, and that's the love that God has for us, agape love. And that's the love that we should strive for. We should have philia in our lives, but we should strive for agape in our relationships to other human beings and our relationship with God. We're to love Him with all our hearts and souls and minds, and we're supposed to love everybody else as we love ourselves, and most people love themselves a lot. So this agape, what we shoot for, the love that you have for you, and the love that God has for you, that's what's spoken of in 1 Corinthians 13, very famous passage, another passage that people are familiar with. And if you've ever gone to a wedding, I used it in a funeral one time for my aunt, and people were very upset because it's like, well, that's supposed to be a wedding thing. But I used it to describe my aunt. And 1 Corinthians 13:4 says this: love is patient. Love is kind. It is not envious. Love does not brag. It is not puffed up. It is not rude. It is not self-serving. It is not easily angered or resentful. It is not glad about injustice, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love, agape love, never ends. Now, we know that God is love, God is agape, and we know that Jesus is God. So we can plunk Jesus' name in here, and let's see what we get. Jesus is patient. Jesus is kind. He is not envious. Jesus does not brag. He is not puffed up. He is not rude. He is not self-serving. He is not easily angered or resentful. He is not glad about injustice, but rejoices in the truth. Jesus bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Jesus' love never ends. Now, that's a perfect description of Jesus. He is that person, that part of God that waits on us. He's the part that, wept over Jerusalem. He's the part that loved us so much that he died as a public spectacle, being nailed to a cross. And he did that willingly. But here's the hard part. And this is the part, when I do this to myself, that tends to crack that hard cement that encompasses my heart. See, we're supposed to be like Jesus. So we should be able to plunk our own names into here. And we can see how we're doing in our lives, in the task that we've been given to be more like Jesus every day, to be God-like. Now, you may or may not know me personally if you're watching this, but if you do know me personally, you'll probably get a few maybe chuckles or maybe some other emotions as I do this with myself. I, Frank Clark, am patient. I am kind. I'll let you know when we get to one that I think describes me. I am not envious. I, Frank Clark, do not brag. I am not puffed up. I am not rude. I am not self-serving. I am not easily angered or resentful. I am not glad about injustice, but I rejoice in the truth. Sometimes I do. I bear all things. I believe all things. I hope all things. I endure all things. My love never ends. I don't ever stack up very well about that. I've been walking with the Lord since 1996, and I've been doing this exercise since probably the early 2000s. Every once in a while I'll teach it someplace, or I'll just, when I'm in my devotional readings or something, when I come across 1 Corinthians 13, I always try to plunk my name in here, and I've yet to like walk away from it going like, yeah, hey, nailed that. So I bet you think we're going to have homework, and you'd be right. We are this week. We haven't for a while, but you know, and part of that's by design. We're doing 1 or 2 or 3 verses at a time, and sometimes it just doesn't lend itself to that. And we have some long-term things that we've been working on anyway. But this week we are going to have some homework. So what I want you to do is go to the website, which is how you got to this YouTube video, and go to the blogs tab, and it'll have it with the blanks, and just plunk your name in there, and then meditate on that, and I'm sure you'll have some cement fall away from your heart too. Until we meet again, God bless you. Till next week.